Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Brummet Media Group. Lillian Brummet here. I'm going to be answering more submitted questions to our channel, which I'm really excited to do. I really appreciate all of the questions that have been sent our way. It's really, really cool. John asked us, what kind of jobs have we held in the real world? I thought that was funny, quote unquote, real world. He put in there, because so often people look at individuals who work in the arts, whether you're a painter or a crafter or a sculptor, a pottery person, a writer, a musician. It's often looked at as like a hobby or a side job, it's not really looked at as a career, like a real career. So I thought it was kind of cute that you put it in that way. Anyway, thank you, John, for that. Well, I I started working really, really young, cleaning houses, weeding gardens, mowing lawns, babysitting, starting, probably before I was 12 years old. When I was 12, I actually moved back in with my mom, so it probably started around then. It was in order to pay for, clothes and school supplies and expenses like that. This was really handy that I started out really young doing this because I was on my own just under 2 years later. And I was paying rent, working as a laborer on farms and in fields as seasonal help during peak harvest, cleaning out the sheds, washing, planting pots, intermixed with working at nurseries and a small scale market garden as well. When I was 16, I was legally able to work. And so I moved into the retail service, like, food service jobs, kitchen labor, cooking positions, things like that. Gradually, I moved from there into hospitality management. And a few years later, I started my own company where I was serving affluent family homes by the age of about 20. I also cleaned houses for a few construction companies through bidding on contracts. So a house would be just finished, completely constructed, carpets in, all of that kind of thing. And so they need someone to come in and clean up after all the crews, scrape the windows clean, all of that before it's move-in ready for the family who's taking over that home. So that was my job. I went in there and I made those bids and I got those contracts and did that kind of work. Um, that business ran successfully for 6 years. Even though, as someone who was very much an introvert and didn't like to, speak to people very much, uh, it was very difficult for me. It really challenged me, to really get out there and push for these jobs and stuff like that. Anyway, it was successful for about 6 years, hiring staff, all that kind of stuff. And then a car accident took that business away from me. So I got a chance to re, have another look at my life and reconsider what my future is going to be, right? And that actually led to me taking on writing as a career. I started out slowly, started out as a freelance writer, and then I got a job as a staff writer and worked for several different publications as a staff writer over the years that I've been in this career. I've also been a columnist. Eventually, I worked as a professional book reviewer. I continued freelance and assignment work. I took on some professional product reviewing gigs, continued running the column until about 2004, I think it was, when Dave and I published our first book. So around that time of publishing our first book, I began many of the behind the scenes marketing activities, which included running a biweekly newsletter and then a podcast for a couple years. Later on, I hosted a really popular radio show called Conscious Discussions. And that show started, I think, in 2005. and ended in 2015, something like that. And then I also started blogging in there somewhere around 2008, which I continue to do today. So right now, bringing us up to date, right now I manage the two blogs, the YouTube channel, some casual dog sitting services, marketing activities for our books, and in between all that, I'm working on new manuscripts. And I find that my days are pretty much split in half. Half of the hot time is spent maintaining the house, the dogs, the yard, the gardens, kitchen, cooking, all that kind of stuff. And half of it is in the office. So I hope that gives you a little better idea as to the experiences that I've had in the real world and also in the world of writing as well. Thank you for that question. That was awesome.